Hello, and welcome to Episode 1 of Faith Unbound in Lycoming County, a podcast produced and presented by United Churches of Lycoming County. I'm your host, Lou Kolb. This is the first of what we hope will be an ongoing series of programs to better acquaint you with the ministries and activities of United Churches of Lycoming County, or as we'll often refer to it, UCLC. It is intended to replace the radio program we had on WRAK, which ended a few years ago. It is very much new territory for us, and we really don't know where the Holy Spirit will lead us. But then God didn't tell Abraham where he was going, did he? He just said, go. Abraham trusted him, and so will we. Toward the end of the show, we'll let you know how you can contact us. We want your feedback on this show, and also your ideas on what topics we can explore on future episodes of the podcast. We plan to take in-depth looks at each of the ministries that UCLC is involved with. But I thought for our first episode, it would be a good idea to give you an overview of United Churches, what it does, and who does it. The best person to help with that is Gwen Bernstein, Executive Director of United Churches of Lycoming County. Hey, Gwen. Welcome to our very first podcast.
Wow, I'm glad to be here.
Well, it's kind of exciting. This is like an historical event because we're doing this, of course, to replace the radio show that we once had. And as I said in the intro, we'll just give it a try, let God lead us, and see where we end up. I want to talk to you about the ministries that United Churches oversees mainly, but I also want to learn a little bit about you. You are the director, executive director. What's the proper title?
Executive director is the proper title. It used to be executive secretary, so it still carries some secretarial work, but it's executive director now.
Are you a local product? Were you born here in the Williamsport area?
I am. I was born at Divine Providence Hospital.
Oh, my. Okay. And you're an ordained Baptist minister.
Yep, American Baptist.
Have you pastored a church?
Yes, I was. For 10 years, I was part of a pastoral team. Larry Waltz and I were the pastoral team at First Baptist Church in Williamsport.
Okay. And were you doing that while you were doing this? Or
I was.
Oh, my. I bet that kept you up a few nights.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and you've been in the position of executive director here at United Churches for how long?
This is the end of my 26th year.
Wow. Has it been that long already, Gwen?
It
sure doesn't seem like it. Now, when you took this position, you succeeded somebody who himself was very dynamic, so you had quite a role to fill.
Oh, I was very lucky.
I think some of our listeners may remember Alton Motter, who was in the position before you. Were you involved with United Churches while he was still here?
A little bit. I was working as an administrative assistant at First Baptist Church, and I hadn't done a whole lot of work in United Churches, but I was aware of what they did. So
you weren't exactly a hand-picked successor by Alton, or did you just apply for the...
Yeah, I just really felt God's leading me to apply. Mm-hmm. I tried to get out of it, but God wouldn't allow me to
yes, I've been there before.
About it. I know. And so I did, and I couldn't believe anybody would be stupid enough to hire me, but I was wrong.
Well, I have been on the board for a number of years, and I have to say you are a superb leader, I think, and have done a great job. One of the things that amazed me when I came onto the board was the number of ministries that UCLC is involved with, and I imagine we have given birth to all these ministries. Is that how it worked? Like Shepherd of the Streets, for example?
We are. Shepherd of the Streets was started in 1988. April 1st, April Fool's Day, was the beginning date for the Shepherd of the Street. Yes, we gave birth to most of them, although some of them we inherited from the Williamsport Ministerium, which was who gave birth to us. And they had started like the radio ministry, and the nursing home ministry started through them, and they gave them over to us.
All the way back, I think, to 1946. Is that where the...
That's when we began, yes.
Wow. Amazing. Well, the Shepherd of the Streets is one that I wanted to talk about because that is a compelling ministry with a compelling administrator. Morris Smith is somebody I'd like to get on a future podcast. Was that started in response to an increased number of homeless people in the area?
An increased number of people in need. A few years before the Shepherd started, we had a job bank. And that didn't exactly answer all the needs. There were people that were homeless, people that were in need, people on the street for all sorts of different kinds of reasons. So the Shepherd of the Street program was started to answer that problem.
Mm-hmm.
It started originally without an office. The original Shepherd was supposed to literally be on the streets where the people were, but then nobody could find him.
That's not good. Yes.
So you wandered around looking for where he was at the given moment when you needed him, before cell phones were.
Right. Okay. And where can they be found now?
They are in what used to be it's 320 Park Avenue. Okay. It's the parish center of the old Mata della Rosa Church, now St. Joseph the Worker Parish.
Castellana Center, is that what they call that? Yeah, okay. Now, another one of the ministries that speaks to a pretty basic human need, and that's the food pantry. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the food pantry has almost as long of a history. It was started out of a need that was perceived by an individual, Peg Strebe, who is a member of St. Mark's Lutheran Church, your home church, Lou.
Yeah.
And they began to address the need, and the Center City cluster of churches began to address the need, and then sometime, that was in the early 80s, and then in the late 80s, they needed more help to address the need of people who were hungry. So United Churches began to help, and somewhere along the line in my early years here, United Churches took the primary lead in the food pantry then. Okay,
and I should say, and we'll talk more about this toward the end of the podcast, but information on all of these ministries can be found on our website, which is uclc.org.
Right now, and I think we forgot to say that the food pantry is also in the Castellano Center, where the Shepherd is.
Okay, very
They're
good.
Opposite ends of the hallway.
Mm-hmm. One of the nicest programs here, and I've had the pleasure of speaking at one years ago, was the ecumenical luncheons that are done, on a monthly basis?
Oh, no, they're done every week.
Oh, every
week?
Year. Okay.
You can come and talk anytime.
Yes. Those are held, I think, at Pine Street?
At Pine Street, United Methodist Church, yep. And there's a different speaker every week, a $6 lunch, and parking's free in their lot. They're every week of the school year, and then once in the summer. And this year, our kickoff is a favorite pianist in our community, Tom Wetzel, and he'll entertain us for the first one. But the programs are sometimes spiritual, sometimes educational, sometimes entertaining, sometimes a combination of all three.
Great. One of the neatest things, I think, that can be accessed every day by anyone is the daily telephone devotional. What is the number for that?
The number for the telephone devotional is 570-322-5762. And it is done by volunteers who take a week. And they do a new devotion every day for that week. and it's available. You call in, and they have done a devotion that goes on the outgoing message of an answering machine. And so you call in, and the message will be up to 3 minutes in length. And the idea is just to have a closer walk with God, and the devotion is an uplifting devotion.
Little spiritual refreshment every day.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And one other ministry I wanted to mention, because I know we're very involved with it at St. Mark's, and it's coming up here in the fall, and that's Crop Walk, another food ministry. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Crop Walk is a part of Church World Service. It is the mission arm of the National Council of Churches, and we in Williamsport walk on the River Walk, and we start at St. Mark's.
That River Walk is very convenient for that, and for lots of other walks. I
It's
noticed.
just perfect.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and it's a 3 mile, to do that a little loop, it's a 3 mile walk. I say little, my knees don't take that anymore. But
Yeah. I understand completely.
So people sponsor me not to walk.
Well, whatever the reason, as long as we get sponsors,
That's
that's
But there are some walks in the other parts of our county, also in Hughesville and in Trout Run, and it helps people who are hungry, and it helps Church World Service to reach out in disaster. And we're having enough flooding around here to know to get a feeling of what disaster's like right now.
Mm-hmm. And let's mention, if you'd like to help United Churches of Lycoming County, there are all sorts of ways to do that. One of them is the golf tournament that we have coming up here in September.
That's right. It's a perfect way for golfers to enjoy a day on the golf course. The fee for golfers is $85, and businesses and people and churches sponsor, and it's just a great day and a way to help ensure that the ministries continue.
Very good, Gwen.
Another of the ministries that are major that we haven't talked about is campus ministry.
Oh, yes. United Campus Ministry is active, I guess, at Penn College. That's kind of important, because often when you think of church activities, you think of older people, but we need to get young people involved as well. And that's Tammy Eichner's domain, I believe, right?
It is. She does a really great job with kids at Penn College, and we have a wonderful Bible study that brings in pastors in the community to lead Bible study with the kids. They do a ton of mission work and really get to know each other and explore their spirituality.
And it's great to see such enthusiasm exhibited by people that age, I think, too.
Absolutely. They have a hard time to catch up with Tammy on enthusiasm.
Yes, they do. She's perfect in that position. Well, Gwen, you've been here 26 years, and I know you're at least looking ahead to potential retirement in a few years, perhaps. What would you say is your hope and prayer for this agency?
Well, we all go through different transitions, and church changes. Mm-hmm. And we have some new congregations within our community, and United Churches needs to develop to meet the needs of a changing congregations, changing pastors, and we need to be able to meet the needs of our community, whether it is to in the ministries and the people that we're reaching out to in the community, or helping everyone to be that body of Christ in our community. So, there's never a dull moment when we're not learning more of what that means in a new day.
Well said. Gwen, thank you for your time, and thank you for coming on our very first podcast.
Well, thank you, Lou, for making it possible for us to begin doing this.
Gwen Bernstein, Executive Director of United Churches of Lycoming County, our very first guest on Faith Unbound in Lycoming County. We hope you enjoyed our visit with Gwen, and I think you can see why she was the perfect guest to have on our inaugural podcast. Now, what would you like to hear on future episodes of Faith Unbound in Lycoming County? We have a general idea of what we'd like to do on this podcast, but we very much want your ideas and input to be part of the mix. So, if there's a topic you'd like to hear discussed or a particular person you'd like to hear interviewed, please let us know. Remember, the person or idea must be connected in some way with a ministry which United Churches of Lycoming County is involved in. Send your emails to me, Lou Kolb. That's Loukolb, and the address is loukolb@gmail.com. That's loukolb@gmail.com. And of course, there are never any spaces in an email address. And it would be helpful if you would put the word podcast in the subject line. That's PODCAST, all one word. If you'd like to learn more about the ministries that United Churches of Lycoming County is involved in, go to our website. And that address is www.uclc.org. www.uclc.org. Just as with email addresses, there are never any spaces in web addresses. I'm Lou Kolb. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on Faith Unbound in Lycoming County.